Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa will be meeting with his U.S. counterpart, Joe Biden, today. On the agenda will be a number of issues, including health, infrastructure, trade and investment. The two countries have very strong historic ties, but they don't always share the same position on global matters. Let's get you a sense of how crucial this meeting is. We're joined by former South African ambassador to the United States, Ebrahim Rasool, joins us via our video link this morning. Great to have you with us on the program, Ebrahim. Thanks for coming on. One just wonders, we talk about this list that is on the agenda to be discussed between Ramaphosa and Biden today. How much of South Africa's stance on the Russia invasion of Ukraine will sort of derail those discussions?
Yeah, good morning. No, thank you very much. I think that South Africa's relationship is more enduring than a few global geopolitical issues. I think also we must see the meeting between Secretary Blinken and Minister Naledi Pandor as a kind of teeth-pulling exercise in which the two of them sorted out the hot-button issues, the issues of the now, so that it cleared the path for the two presidents ahead of the United Nations General Assembly to begin to get back to the agenda that they had set for themselves. So I think that there is a discordance between the two on something like Russia-Ukraine, but I think it's been dealt with to a large extent, and I don't see this being a dominant theme within the meeting between the two presidents.
So you're referring to the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, and his visit to South Africa. I think it was a few weeks ago.
That was a few weeks ago, and I saw that as a teeth-pulling exercise so that they don't bite each other when the two presidents come together, so that we say, listen, we've dealt with that. Your Minister of International Relations, my Secretary of State, they've discussed it. Let's move on from there. And I think that the U.S. may also now be backtracking a lot on its punitive measures that it wanted to take on Africa, because it's not. Ukraine is important in some instances, but not crucial for what the U.S. needs to achieve if it wants to be back in Africa and back in the world after the Trump presidency.
A renewed focus, it would seem, Ebrahim, on Africa and perhaps on South Africa. You just mentioned the U.S. Secretary of State and his visit here just a few weeks ago. There's a new ambassador, a U.S. ambassador to South Africa as well, and this meeting now with Joe Biden.
No, I think that there is, and for the first time, I think in a long time, we've got a very serious ambassador, Ruben Brigetti. He is seasoned. He knows what the issues are. I would have described him, because I know him quite well, as an Afrophile rather than an Afrophobe. And I think he wants to make it work. And I think he's got a list of issues that he wants to get through, which may not include the hot button issues always. He knows, and I think President Biden knows, that South Africa remains the key. Despite our own internal weaknesses, South Africa remains the key to this huge free market that has opened up with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that is there. So if the U.S. wants to be in the game and not cede the whole of Africa to China, the U.S. now knows it must compete for Africa. It does not have automatic rights over Africa.
Ruben Brigetti, the first ambassador to South Africa since Lana Marx, who I think departed as far back as early 2021. So there's been this sort of gap between diplomatic relations with the U.S. and South Africa.
I think that there has been a gap for the entire presidency of Donald Trump. He could not know who was in Africa. He referred to us in very unflattering ways. It was never part of his agenda. And so what the U.S. has effectively done, it has created a relationship, a diplomatic vacuum with Africa. And what has happened in the meantime, and this is what President Biden would be very aware of, is that vacuums don't remain unfilled. And that's what groups like China, BRICS countries, and others, even countries like Turkey, have been able to do, come and fill what the U.S. has vacated. But President Ramaphosa also goes over, very conscious of the fact that U.S. companies have stayed the course through our allegations of corruption, have stayed the course through our recession, through COVID. There are 600 companies. They employ up to 250,000 South Africans. And that is very, very important. And so he would understand, President Ramaphosa, that this relationship is important and we shouldn't be overexcited about what we've achieved with countries like China.
I want to ask you a question about, how we go into this meeting as South Africa. From what you're saying, it doesn't sound like we're going in on the back foot, but that we're actually going in quite a strong position.
I think we're going in a strong position, more an equal position, because we need the U.S. as much as the U.S. needs the key to Africa. But I think that we've had our telling off when Minister Naledi Pandor told Secretary of State Blinken, listen, you cannot come with this kind of attitude to us and to Africa. And so we've had the harsh words, and now I think we can get on with the agenda.
And what that agenda will reveal, of course, we'll know once the President has had that meeting at the White House with U.S. President Joe Biden. Ebrahim, Rasool, let me thank you for your time this morning. Thankfully, your connection to us lasted despite the load shedding that you are experiencing. Thanks very much for weighing in on this discussion.
Thank you very much.